high-definition studios at Fox Charlotte. This is Fox News Rising.
There's a lot of great stuff ahead. Is the value of your child's college education losing its worth after the bills stack up? The author of Debt U breaks down the cost of higher education. Good morning and welcome back to Fox News Rising. The time now is 8:13. For college kids, it's no secret the decisions they make today will cost them in the future, literally. Here to shed some light on the effects of student debt is author of Debt U, Logan Abrams. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Dow.
How much debt does the graduating class of 2010 face?
Well, we don't know yet because they haven't graduated, but last year's class faced over $23,000 just in student loan debt, and that's just for the students. That doesn't factor in what the parents paid as well, so it's actually higher than that.
And what about credit card debt? Because a typical person has about 7 or 8 credit cards in their purse.
Right. Yeah, the typical college student has between 3 and 5 credit cards and an average debt when they graduate of over $3,000, and that number has been continually going up for the past 10 years.
And tell us about the premise of your book. What are you trying to get out to people?
Right. Well, the premise of Debt U is not to not go to college. We still want kids to go to college, but we want them to factor in where they go to school, how much the total costs are going to be when making that decision. But also the biggest thing is financial education. Hopefully this book will be a great starting point for parents to have the discussion with their kids about personal finance education, because right now there's really a lack in the public school system around the country of anything personal finance related.
But a lot of people say that school debt is good debt, so it doesn't really matter. What's your position on that?
Yeah, traditionally college loan debt has been good debt, but right now the interest rates on student loan debts are actually higher than mortgages, and private loans can be 8–10%. So college debt isn't necessarily good debt. You really have to look at it just as you would any debt, but it can't no longer just make the premise that every student loan debt is good, because it's not the case.
Do you find that the debt is dragging people down mentally when they graduate? They're not finding the jobs out there, and so they're discouraged?
Yeah, in the book, Debt U, I talk about one thing that I've kind of made up is called post-graduation stress disorder. And it's something that's setting into kids in their mid to late 20s when they get out of school. They can't find a job, and all the debt starts piling on top of each other. And they're finding themselves, you know, becoming depressed, down on themselves. And the tough economy that we have right now isn't making things any easier on them.
What can high schools do to better prepare kids to go to college? Because you got to take the test, you got to pass the SAT and all those other tests, but they really don't talk about the finances of it.
Right, that's the biggest problem, is that besides reading and writing, personal finance is the #1 skill we use on a daily basis. And for some reason, in most schools across the country, there's absolutely no time dedicated to it. So in Debt U, the main thing is education, education, education. And I want high schools to have a mandatory personal finance education class. They can also offer electives and stuff like that, but we got to start with education.
A lot of people say follow your heart, study something that you'll love, because in the end you'll make the money anyway, so don't worry about it. But then other people say you got to learn a trade, a skill that's valuable, that people want to hire you. So how do you balance that out with doing something you want and then making money off of it?
Well, I think we've kind of pushed the spectrum to everyone go to college, and it's not really the case. College isn't for everybody, but college is still something that most people can use to be successful as they grow up. So there's a balance that we need to educate people on in high school, that college isn't your only option. There are other options, like you said, trades and skills, and a lot of which pay very well in this economy.
And what does the average person pay going into college? What's what's the fee usually?
The college tuition?
Yeah.
It's in the mid $20,000 range, depending on private, public, state schools and whatnot. But the costs have been rising. The average college tuition has actually gone up over 100% in just 10 years. And starting salaries are up less than 20% over the same time. So that's kind of the crunch that kids find themselves in.
And just really quickly, you're having a launch party tonight. Can you give us the details?
Yep, Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, 7 p.m. Come on out. Books will be available. I'll be signing all the copies. And if you can't come out tonight, the books are available on Amazon.com as well as debt-u.com.
All right, Logan, thank you so much for informing us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Dow.